Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be back with you all today here with our LeadHerShip podcast. It has been a while. I'm just going to jump right into it. I have been anticipating a podcast. I've recorded a couple of podcasts that I just didn't feel, one of them, I just didn't feel comfortable posting, if I'm just being totally honest. It's extremely vulnerable, and I just felt like it was too private to share. And so I sat with it for a long time and just didn't post it. And then I re-recorded another one and felt very good about that one. And my mic was muted the entire time. So I've made sure my mic is on. I can see it moving, so I know it's recording. And I am just feeling very blessed to be back with you all today. I definitely know that it's my calling and purpose in life to share, to be authentic and vulnerable, to be my authentic and vulnerable self, to let my light shine, to encourage and inspire all of you to do the same. And especially as it relates to leadership. And guess what? We are all leaders. Every single one of us are leaders in some shape or form in our lives. And today, I think I'm specifically talking to people who are leaders in business or leaders in their work that they do, or maybe not just you, maybe everybody. Who knows? We'll see. So I wanted to kind of give an update. That's what I've been promising you all, an update. It's been since April of 2023 that I've had a podcast out. And it is January 2024. So Happy New Year. I hope you all have been blessed this past year. I'm excited to be back, and I have lots of intention about being more consistent, about sharing more authentically and vulnerably. I think where my hesitancy comes is I want to be perfect. Like, if I'm just being totally honest, I want to be as put together and perfect as possible before I record a podcast. And guess what? I'm not perfect, nor will I ever be. I'm about as put together as I want to be. And so I'm just going to do my best and share. And I hope that encourages each of you to also do that we're not meant to be perfect. We're absolutely imperfect. It's part of the human condition. We are spiritual beings living a human experience. So the human experience is not perfect in any way, shape, or form. The only perfect human that ever existed was Jesus Christ himself. And we are not supposed to be Jesus. There was one. We're supposed to be our authentic self. So I'm going to put my phone on do not disturb, because otherwise you're going to keep hearing these dings as I get text messages and stuff through there. And so here we go. So I promised you a life update, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about taking action in our own lives, and our own businesses. And so this past year, what happened back in April, I was on a very good schedule of my podcast and putting them out there pretty consistently. And then I had this experience in my own personal business. As all of you probably know by now, my husband and I own Majors Realty Group. It's a local real estate brokerage here in Fairbanks, Alaska. And we were serving our community as a full service brokerage. So we do real estate sales, as well as we were doing property management. And it really was our intention to serve at that full scale because there is such a need for it. And I had a person at the helm of our property management business as the leader of the business, of really creating it from scratch and managing and running it. And that just all kind of came tumbling down. John and I began to have awareness that things were not being run as we had intended for them to be. And really, um, uh, a lot of learning has taken place since then. What I was initially calling a failure and a judgment of myself as a business leader really has just turned into a huge learning of um, how to be kind and how to be to ourselves, and to not judge things as failure, but to judge when we do have what we call failure, to really understand it's just learning and messaging. So, um, the situation was pretty bad with our property management division, so bad that we ended up separating from this person. And then John and I and our assistant began to really dig in and try to figure out. We started running it ourselves. At that time, it was a 70 unit portfolio, which is a lot of work, plus managing our brokerage, plus our life and all that kind of stuff. Simultaneously, our son is transitioning to move to Texas to go live in his dream. And so we're supporting him in that. And our daughter's getting married and having another baby. So lots of movement happening all at the same time. And so here we were last summer trying to dig into our property management business, figure out where we were, figure out how to get where we really wanted to be. And we just realized that, one, we just didn't have the capacity. I didn't personally have the capacity. As I began to do this for a couple of months, I realized that, oh, I have some still unhealed spaces of myself from the trauma that I experienced as a kid, and coming up for me. And so it was an opportunity for me to just kind of really be kind to myself and understand that, one, I understand stress to be a killer. You know, stress, if we allow it to be, can absolutely kill you. I mean, I watched my husband work himself to death basically and drop dead from a heart attack at 48. So I did not want that same experience to be happening this year. So I wanted to be sure I was being mindful of my own health, of my husband's health, of the health of our business. As we began to really focus on property management, we realized it was taking the vast majority of our time. And so we didn't want to lose sight of the team that we've created in sales and all that kind of stuff. So we decided to close our property management division down for the time being, so that we could ensure all of our owners were being served, because our mission really is to serve with excellence. And that was not happening. And so we tried to fix it as fast as possible, and it wasn't correcting as quickly as we wanted it to. And I didn't have the capacity really. So we decided to send our owners and properties to local brokerages that do an excellent job. And so we did that. Very humbling, very much a growth experience for sure. And I'm really grateful. I'm really always so grateful that when I look back at those times in my life that feel so overwhelming and so big. It's my little quirky puppy. I'm sorry for all those people who are listening on earplugs or earphones, because that might have been a little loud. If you don't know, I have two little quirky puppies. They're brother and sister. They're precious. So I just completely lost my train of thought, but I'm going to get back on it. So bless. We do our best. And I'm so grateful. That's what I was saying. I'm so grateful. I really am so grateful to, as I experience big things, to be able to not that much long after. I mean, it's been several months for sure, but it's not been years and years to be able to look back on that time frame. And as we were experiencing it all, it was very big, very emotional, very stressful. And now I can look back at it and see God's hand in it all. Really, I can see how much more growth I have experienced, how it's brought John and I closer together, how it's taught us things we want to experience and also taught us things that we do not want to experience. And it's given us a lot of strength and endurance to be able to really go after the things that we want and to really continue to work in our business to ensure that it is an atmosphere that we intend to create, that we want to experience, and that we have the people within our business that we want to have there that share the same heart and values that we do. It's so important to us. Like I think I've said in the past, but we don't hire just anybody. You really have to have a sincerity of heart and a sincerity to want to serve and some other things that allow you to be a part of what we got going on. So I'm very grateful to have gone through that and to be where I'm at today. So through this process, I realized that, as I said, I didn't have the capacity for it, and the stress was really huge, and that this stuff from my trauma was coming up. You know, I'm sure I'm not the only one that experiences, especially leaders, that as we experience big things, that our bodies and minds start to fail, that we start to move away from self-care and move more into coping. So self-care is stuff that we do to care for ourselves. Coping, although that word has been used in trauma therapy and therapy in general as a positivity, coping really is maintaining to be able to get through it, just to get through it as fast as possible. That's not what we're meant to do. We're not meant to have experiences in our life that we just gotta get through. The experiences of our life are meant to be felt. They're meant to be experienced. We're meant to have awareness around them because they're there to be teachers for us. And if we don't have the awareness and allow ourselves to experience them, then guess what? We're going to experience it again because we're here to learn. That's what life is. We're here to learn and grow and shift and change and become the best version of ourselves, the highest version of ourselves, the version that God saw in us, the actual essence of us, the golden essence that is our true selves. You know, we pack on all this clay that is from the experiences of our life, the negative, heavy experiences of our life. We pack on this clay that covers our golden essence. And so that's not how we're supposed to live through life. I mean, that's what causes the vast majority of the issues in relationship and life, and is when we're walking around life with all this clay over our essence. So experiences are meant to be felt and moved through. And so through my training and through my own healing journey, I consciously am aware of that. And so I'm having these experiences where, you know, I've chatted with you guys about before about this experience that I had back in 2016 where I couldn't leave my house for 3 months. The fear just overtook me and I just couldn't. And I've done so well with showing up and not being stuck in my house. Well, that started creeping up for me again. So just some awareness for me to have happen, some conscious and intentional movement that said, oh, isn't this interesting? I don't want to leave my house and it's really powerful for me. So what's going on that's causing me to feel like that? Leaning away from judgment, leaning into understanding. And so that was happening. John and I were having some conflict. And so, oh, this is interesting. We really haven't. So what's going on here? And just a bunch of things. I started gaining a bunch of weight. And so I found myself overeating and having dysregulated eating, and I was having some trouble sleeping. I started having experience where I was actually experiencing some PTSD, which I hadn't experienced in a long time. And the reality is, when I sat down with myself and really got clear about what I was experiencing, what was happening is that, that emotional beach ball we've talked about before, that you're holding down, holding all these feelings down. Well, it was starting to come up because what was happening is that even I was experiencing these external circumstances that really were lessons for me to start to dig in and really deepen my healing journey. Really start to take out things that are no longer working for me and start to step into the things, to step forward into growth rather than stepping back into safety. And so I decided I was going to take some time, not off necessarily, but home, that I was going to honor the idea that my system, my physical being wanted to be home. And so how could I create and allow more opportunity for me to be home, where I could work from home and work on a lesser scale? So I decided to do that. And I've spent several months doing that, and it feels really good to me. There was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm so done with real estate. There is those times when I've had experiences of things where quote unquote failed. And so there's a lot of shame and guilt that comes for me around that. And oh my gosh, now my colleagues see that this has failed, and they've probably been wanting me to fail. And here they are, belly laughing over here about our property management failure. And so all this, the stories that we kind of hold in our mind that probably aren't true at all, but that was going through my mind. So I was like, oh, I'm just not good at this. I'm just going to be done. It's just too much. It's just too stressful. And I'm just going to be done. So there was some of that for sure. And so what I chose to do was, yes, I stayed home and worked from home. I started to do a lot of reading. I started to really be intentional with my morning routine and really praying and start to really focus on my relationship with God. Because what I do know is that God does tell us that if we try to do it on our own, we're going to suffer. It's going to be hard. But if we allow God to come into the situation and Him carry us and move us through things, and for when things get hard, to go to God and say, okay, God, I need you right now. Things will be a lot more graceful and easy. Miracles can take place when we do that kind of behavior. So I started to really focus there as well and deepen my relationship with God. And then I also decided that I was going to get some counseling. So I chose to do some research and was able to secure like the best counselor for myself. It really was like a miraculous experience. We live in Fairbanks, Alaska. There is some judgment that says because we're so remote up here, there's not a lot of resources. And I hear that even in the community, especially as it's related to mental injury and illness and stuff, and being able to get some resources and support with counselors and stuff like that. And so as I initially started to look for that, I got shut down a couple of times, a couple of phone calls I made. And instead of just letting that be, I just kept setting my intention that this is what I wanted to experience. And then I made a phone call and got right in, and have been ever since, weekly meeting with my counselor. And it's so beautiful because, number one, I am like primed and ready. The coaching that I've done with my coach, the preparation that I've had to get to this place, I've had counseling before, and it's been beautiful. This time, it's like I have enough clay off of me, and I've done enough unlayering of the trauma that I've experienced and the judgments that I've held on myself, that now there's so much love. I have so much more self-love and so much more connection with God that I feel like is very authentic, and so much more openness with my own self, that I'm able to get into the layers pretty quickly, pretty deeply in this counseling. And it has been miraculous. And so in this process, I've really come to know and understand that my passion and purpose in life is to do this work, is to be my most authentic and vulnerable self, is to share my experiences, is to shine my light so that I can create a ripple effect of other people choosing to do the work, choosing to step forward into growth rather than stepping back into safety. And if not just for myself, for my own little family and for all of you. And so thanks for holding me with so much love. I've gotten messages and stuff since I haven't been posting a podcast like, Jen, when are we going to hear from you? Um, Jen, I miss your podcast. Jen, I've been listening and I miss you. And so thank you for loving me and encouraging me to get back on. And I'm excited to be here. So, in this experience, I've also gotten some education about how what was happening to me that summer when I'm going through all this stress and dysregulation is that my nervous system is dysregulated and I've been operating from a place of survival mode, what I now realize for the vast majority of my life. And of course I have. So getting some education on somatic experience and regulation strategies. Right now, I'm actually going through a certification class on somatic experience and regulation strategies. First, for myself, so that I can understand how to better care for myself, how to better process things that I experience, and then also to provide resource and education for the people that I coach and interact with. So I feel very, very blessed to be able to be moving through this course myself and to be learning the strategies and the information that are like huge aha moments about, oh, I am. And what it's really done for me is, there's been this long belief that I've had for the vast majority of my life, since I probably have been 10 years old up until just recently, that says I'm bad and wrong. And I think I've shared that with you all before. When we learn that we're bad and wrong or things are happening and we're blamed for them as small children, teenagers, young adults, then we take that honest truth. And until we re-educate ourselves in love is when it begins to be removed. And so as I'm moving through this somatic experience class, having these moments I'm like, oh my gosh, of course that's how I behaved. Of course that's why I felt the way that I felt. And so I'm excited that as I move through and learn more about that I'm able to share with you. And so plan for that. That's going to be happening. It's going to take me, I think, about 12 or 16 weeks to get through. That is Gus, everybody. He's pretty vocal. So that's been wonderful. So that's basically the update. We still going strong in our business. We are still growing. We might reinstitute our property management division. We aren't quite sure yet. I've got a little bit of unease about that because it's not simple. And I want to make sure that the person that we hire for that position is going to be the right person and be able to lead it with excellence and with care. I am still coaching and really want to dig into my coaching business and to create content and to create more space around that. So I'm excited to move into that. I love the coaching and mentorship piece of my real estate business. That's really where my heart lies, is I love doing the training and coaching of our agents. And so I've been doing more of that, and that's been really wonderful. I feel so grateful to have the agents we have because there's two specifically, although I'm grateful for them all, there's two specifically who are young guys who really hold me and John accountable, and have come and met with us about some ideas. And I'm very grateful to be able to be open to new ideas and options, and not meeting them closed. And so and I will just say across the board, this is LeadHerShip, right? So it's about leading the ship of your own life. And I'll just say that when we approach conversations or conflict or anything like that with openness and just allow ourselves to be open, miracles happen. Answers come. Things are effortless. Things are graceful and easy. So I just encourage you, and you can kind of feel it. How my mentor, Tracy, teaches it is that, when we're closed, you really kind of feel in this midsection part from our heart to our belly, this kind of like bear trap closing. Like, nope, you put a wall up and you're like, heck to the no. I don't want to hear it. I don't care what you have to say. I, in my mind, know that I'm right and you're wrong. And there's conflict. There's a wall. There's that messaging that says I'm right and you're wrong. I'm good and you're bad kind of thing. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of depletion that happens. And when we allow ourselves to be aware of the closing and then choose to open instead, which takes trust and love and openness, miracles happen. Grace and ease happens. Energy happens. New opportunities happen. Closeness happens. Trust happens. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. And I'm so grateful to them for being brave enough to share with us about some concerns that they had. And so we were able to meet them and to address those things. And I think our entire business is better for it. And I'm also will share that I'm so grateful for certain colleagues in our market. Real estate can be heavily competitive. And I think in any market that's true. In our little Fairbanks town, not everybody's perfect for sure, right? We started this podcast that way. And there can definitely be some damaging relationships, some toxicity, some even what I would really label, and I don't like to label, but label is like corruption. People who just choose to do the wrong thing, that don't rise above. And so that can be really yucky for me. I just don't like to experience this. It's one of the things that I don't like about real estate is that I have to engage and experience with people who behave that way, who kind of hold it and tout it as a badge of honor, to kind of have a win-lose mentality. I always want to have a win-win mentality. I teach my team to always have a win-win mentality, especially we live in such a small town. So even if I'm working with the buyer and the other realtor has the seller, I teach my team, I want us to understand that yes, we're representing the buyer, but the seller is still a community member in our community. They're still a person. I want there always to be a win-win solution. I've always want that to be taking place. And so I feel that way strongly about our realtor colleagues as well, that we can all win. We don't have to have this win-lose, I'm better than you mentality. And so there's a few colleagues in our town that through this process, I'm so grateful for. I'm so grateful for their heart, for their honor, for their care, for their love. I feel it. I have experienced it. And I see you. And thank you. Thanks for being operating above board and being kind and considerate and thoughtful people. And yeah, I'm so grateful for that. And I think that is with any industry. I hope that you find those people who shine their light, who really are your people. And that as we get clear about that, that we just get to experience more and more of that. So that's been really beautiful. Yeah. So I've been really working on myself, and it has been an experience that's been uncomfortable for sure. And it's been beautiful. I'm just so grateful. I feel so loved and supported. I feel so right on course and on track in my life. I feel like more than ever before, I am loving myself deeper. I'm being way more kind to myself. I'm choosing acceptance and consideration rather than judgment and closing, and really first for myself. And then it naturally comes for other people. I find myself to be sleeping really well. I find myself to have more acceptance and love for other people rather than judgment and closing. And I find that not just with myself, I see it in my husband, John. I see it in my kids. I see it in my grandbabies. I see it in my team. I see it in the people that I surround myself with, my friends. And it is, I mean, I am so grateful to be in this space of my life. I have done some work to get here, people. And I am blessed beyond measure. I am abundant. Do you know we're abundant? You know, I've been praying for abundance, and there was times last year as we were going through this property management fiasco and money was super tight and or non-existent at one point, and because we we're trying to fix it all. And I mean, I was praying for abundance. And I was fearful of, if there's one thing that just drives me into total fear mode, is a lack of money. And so when there seems to be a lack, then this fear will rise up in me and I'm just begging for abundance. And then one day I'm praying and I realize, as I'm praying and meditating on God's ability to provide, you know, he says he takes care of the birds. So who are we not to be taken care of by God when he loves us more than the birds? And I have this just awareness that, oh, every single one of us are abundant. If we're living on this earth and we're breathing air, we're abundant. And then if you're born in the United States of America, you have more abundance than, like, financial abundance, health abundance, all that kind of stuff, more than the most of the world. So, and I can go on and break that down. And so I'm just walking in this abundance. You know, I might not have millions of dollars right now, and that's okay. I am abundant. I might not be in the body that I really desire to be in, but that's okay. I'm abundant and I'm healthy. And I am improving every single day, and I'm improving every single way. And I say that because, you know, as we do this work, it's going to trickle down into our family, into the people we interact with. And I said, you know, I'm improving every single day. I'm improving every single way. And I got that from my little 7-year-old granddaughter, Charlotte. So she has been learning how to write and all that kind of stuff. And I go into her little room and I see these lists of affirmations, you guys. And on there is, I'm powerful, I'm smart, I'm kind, I'm loving. And it says, I'm improving every single day and I'm improving every single way. Wow, you guys, talk about changing our family tree. Talk about stopping the cycle of trauma right here. My little 7-year-old grandbaby girl writing her own affirmations, inspiring her Grammy, inspiring her brothers and sisters, inspiring her parents, inspiring her little friends she interacts with at school. How beautiful and amazing is that? What an incredible blessing. And so I've just been moving through my stuff with as much grace and ease as I can. I have been really kind to myself, really kind to John. We've been really kind to each other. We're probably in the best space in our relationship that we have ever been, all 17 years of our marriage. I see what a powerful and beautiful, kind and supportive, loving, incredibly smart, incredibly inspiring, incredibly hardworking husband I have. And I am just overjoyed to be doing life with him. He is He's just such an incredible dude. I'm just really blessed to have him in my life and to have him be my kid's dad and my grandbaby's papa and to be my friend. I just love you, John Majors. So here we are. Here we are. It is January 2024. I'm in Fairbanks. It is very cold outside. It's like 40 below this week and next week, and it's chilly. And yet I sit here in my very warm and cozy house with my wood stove blazing and working from home, doing my podcast. My daughter and new son-in-law are in Mexico on their honeymoon, and we've got our 4 grandbabies. So I'm blessed beyond measure, you guys. And I hope that really that cup overflows onto each one of you. I really hope that whatever you're experiencing, whether it be beauty or whether it be tough situations, that you allow it to be teachers to you, that you allow yourself to listen to that messaging that's coming through in the form of negative external experiences, to know that it's there for a purpose. It's there. Move through it. Care for yourself so that you have the strength, the endurance to move through it, to learn what you need to do. And as you do that, I promise you, you're going to be blessed through it. And so I also wanted to share some messaging about taking action. So there was a moment during all of this stuff where I just wanted to stop. I just wanted to sit in it, stop, and feel sorry for myself. And there's probably some times that I did feel sorry for myself. And that's okay. And I think we all probably go through that. And so my message to you is, when you've got these moments, to take action. That the best thing that you can do is to move forward in some way. You may not know exactly how to move forward, but the key is just to move forward. That's how we learn. You know, a kid doesn't know whether they're going to be safe when they take their first step. Maybe they've got a caring parent on the other side of that. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're taking their step on their own, but they still take a step. You know, a plant doesn't know what's above the dirt as a seed pops and germinates and the little vine comes out. All it sees is dark dirt at that point. It doesn't know that there's life beyond that. And so just using that analogy to know that just step forward, just grow, even if it's super scary and uncomfortable. Try something new. Do something that really feels good. You might be on course, you might be off course, and that's okay. Choose to take action anyway. And most of all, just love yourself. Don't do it alone. Ask God to help you. Ask God to partner with you. Ask your angels to partner with you. That's the other thing that I've got really deep learning in, is that we're not here alone, that we've got angels around us. They can't come in and help us, though, just by themselves. We've got free will. So we need to ask their help. And that's what they're really here for. They're here first to worship God, but they're also here to help us little spiritual beings live in this human existence that can sometimes be really overwhelming and scary. So call on your angels, ask them to help you, ask God to give you clarity and to know and knowing. Be good to yourself so you can do the things that fuel your body, sleep really well, eat a good balanced diet, hydrate your body, take your vitamins, get some movement in your life. And above all of those things, if you find yourself judging yourself or judging somebody else, love is the answer. All you need is love, and you're going to be okay. And I say that because, as I said that, some people might say, oh no, you need way more than love. The reality is if we're hydrating our body, feeding ourselves well, sleeping well, being kind to ourselves and others, at the base of that is love. If we're starving ourselves or eating really bad foods or not hydrating ourselves or choosing not to sleep well and focusing on social media and all the toxicity that comes with all of that, watching, TV and just laying on the couch and not moving, that's not love, it's fear. And so There's two ways of being. You can either operate in love or you can operate in fear. Love is where it is at. So, my precious friends, I love you. And I'm thankful to be here with you and to be sharing with you once again. I am not going to promise what's going to come from me. I am still working on my own healing journey. Today, I just felt really great and really ready to share. And I'm going to post this podcast live now. And thanks for being here. Go ahead and share this podcast with anybody that you know that this might be helpful for. And love yourself, my precious friends. And until next time.